Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Dee and this is Dee's Reading Lounge. This is where I'm sharing my love for reading at my own pace. Welcome back to a new video. If you are new, welcome to my channel. I do invite you to hit the subscribe button down below. I am trying to get my channel up to 100 subscribers. So if you're interested in historical fiction, contemporary fiction, a little bit of thrillers, and also a little bit of romance, this is the channel for you. Those are the things that I read. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this video. I am going to be doing 2-in-1 because I only read 2 books. Even 1 book is a major accomplishment. Most people do not read even 1 book a month. So that is still a great accomplishment. But the reason why I wanted to do a 2-in-1 is because I have just 2 books to share, and so to fill in space on this video, I'm doing a 2-in-1. All right, so I'm gonna start with the books that I did read this month, and then I'm going to share my TBR for the month. All right, so the first book that I read and finished is The Other Princess by Denny S. Bryce. So this one, even though I haven't really said much about reading this book on my channel, I just picked it up in the month of March because I really did secretly want to read this book because it's about a Black princess in Queen Victoria's court. So it's historical, which I love. It's Victorian, which I also love. And these types of books tend to be filled with drama, which I also love. So this follows Sarah Forbes Spinetta. However, her African name is Aina. That's her African-born name. We follow her as a 7-year-old girl when she is stolen or captured from her country of Africa, where some things went on where she found herself alone. So she was meant to be sacrificed, but however, it was decided that she would be saved and gifted to Queen Victoria. So we're looking at her early journey through a frightening 7-year-old's lenses. And I would say the first part of the story, like when she was captured, everything was going on in her country, I would say it was the most captivating part of the story, her early life in Africa, when all of those things was going on. So when she gets to England or Royal Society, she has to learn everything all over again. A new language, a new way of life, societal norms in England, and also being that she was a Black princess, she had to get used to different stares and judgments and things like that. However, she had a really strong sense of like survival. She was definitely a king's daughter. She wanted to be successful. She wanted to please everyone, especially Queen Victoria, because she had decided that she would embrace this new life that she's been given. So she does well in her studies, which is all paid for by Queen Victoria because she was her prize, her trophy, her ward. She was very privileged in that manner. She wore the best, finest clothes. She went to the best schools of her kind, I would say. As she grows older, she kind of like lost herself a little bit, thinking she was more to Queen Victoria than she actually was. She really was just like, I would say, a charity case when it all boiled down to it. Someone for her to brag about, Queen Victoria to brag about, and really, I would say not really liked by like the other people around, like in Royal Society. However, having said that, we did not get a lot of that on the actual pages. We didn't see any dramatic scenes where she experienced like outright outcasting because of her skin color, but I would have wanted to see more drama in this story because that is the reason why I wanted to read this one so bad. It's because of the type of book that it was. Historical fiction, Victorian era. And if you know anything about Victorian movies and things like that, it's a lot of drama, okay? A lot of drama going on in those stories, and they just make for the best books, TV shows, things like that. And so we didn't really get any of those things. The book dragged a little bit because she really went through a lot of journeys, okay? As she journeyed from Africa over to England by boat, and everything that she had to get used to, I did find was a bit sad and heartbreaking when she finds out that she had no agency over her life. She was not able to make any choices. All of those things were dictated and made for her. She had to get along with the get along and do as she was told, pretty much. So this book was good. I did enjoy this book. However, I didn't really like how the book ended for me. I felt like I wanted to see her grow older because it started when she was 7 years old. I really wanted to see everything that she went through. I wanted more out of this book. I still enjoyed this book, and I think you would enjoy it too, but it's not high drama, which I was expecting it to be. So I gave this a 3.5, which is still a good rating. So that is The Other Princess by Denny S. Bryce. So the next book that I read for March is Stay With Me. This is by Ayobami Adebayo. This has been a book that I wanted to get to for several years. Finally got to it because I've had this on my backlist for the longest time. And I'm glad I got to this book because I really did enjoy this book. This book, without saying too much, because if I say too much, I will definitely be giving like the story away. This is a contemporary fiction. It follows a African Nigerian couple who are married. And in African society, we know that men are allowed to take more than one wife. And so it is proposed because of her fertility issues. She's having some fertility issues. It's proposed by her in-laws, who are very disrespectful to her, say whatever they want. And I feel like I've been around some Africans too, and they are very bold and direct. They're very bold and direct and tend to speak their minds. And it was definitely depicted in this book. It is written by a Nigerian author, and she probably is taking from her own culture, right? Her own experiences with her own family. It kind of seemed like this book, something like this would happen. To be perfectly honest. So it was proposed by her mother-in-law that he should take another wife because she could not have kids, okay? And so it spirals from there. This book was, the dialogue was very funny. The characters were very funny. I did feel for the main character, which is, what's her name? Yejedi is the wife, and Akin is the husband. I felt more for her than I did for her husband. I really didn't care for her husband. The main twist was based on something that he did, okay? Something that he did, and yeah. But it definitely wrapped itself up really nicely, and I really did find the ending very heartwarming. And yes, love this book. I rated it a solid 4. Very, very good book. I do recommend that you pick this up and you read this because it was very enjoyable. And I'm mad at myself that I waited so long to read it. All right, so let's get to what I will be reading for the month of April. Y'all, can you believe it's April already? The third quarter is already over and done with. So I am continuing to read Beverly Jenkins' Breathless. This is book number 2 in the Old West. I think I want to say Old West series. I am on page 21. And if you watch my vlog, you know I went on 2 vacations. Well, I went away twice. I went home to visit my family, and then I went to the mountains in Tennessee for a whole week. And reading was not really on my high priority list. 2 books was read. That's why I did not get to finish this one. I could have if I had more time, but again, for me, it's quality over quantity, and so I chose to spend quality time on self-care and with people I love. So I didn't get to finish this book, but I am on page 21, and already, y'all, it's like fire. It's definitely captured my interest. It's Beverly Jenkins, and this is the 3rd book that I am reading about her. So Breathless by Beverly Jenkins, book number 2 in the Old West series. So the next book that I'm going to read is Salvage the Bones. I think I picked this book to read in February, I think. I don't remember, y'all. I did not get to it, but I'm going to try to get to this one this month. It's by Jasmine Ward. It follows a family in the midst of Hurricane Katrina. Of course, it's fictionalized. It's in Louisiana, set in Louisiana. And so I talked about this book in my other video. So I'm not gonna go into fully what this book is about, but it sounds very interesting. And so this is one of the authors, Jasmine Ward, is that I wanted to get more familiar with her books, and I'm gonna try to get to that one. So if you watched my video, I don't know if it should be out by now. I am reading Zamie by Audre Lorde. This is a biomythography. I don't know what that is. But I am part of a local book club, and this is the book that they're reading for April. I need to get to it. This is going to be the first book that I read because we meet every second Wednesday of the beginning of the month. And so that means that I only have 9 days because the second Wednesday is on the 9th. So I'll be finished with this book in 9 days. This is only, let's see, 253 pages. And so I know I can get to this. I don't even know what this book is about, y'all, but I'm going to read it. So it says, among the elements that make the book so good are its personal honesty and lack of pretentiousness, characteristics that shine through the writing, bespeaking the evolution of a strong and remarkable character. Zami is a fast-moving chronicle from the author's vivid childhood memories in Harlem to her coming of age in the late 50s. So I guess this is sort of like a autobiography of Audre Lorde. I did read the Cancer Journals, and I enjoyed that book. So this will be the second book that I have read, or I will have read by her. And it seems like it's going to be a good discussion for a book club. All right, so the third book, is that the third book? One, two, no. So the fourth book that I'm going to try to get to is The Honey Tree by Joe Sparks. This is historical fiction. It is my favorite genre. This is a newer book, and because I have bought so many books in the past few months and have not really read one book, okay, one new book that I bought, because I'm trying to read so much. You know, you can only read so much, and if I keep buying books, I'm never going to get anything read. It feels like I have not, even though I'm reading for enjoyment. I have to remind myself I'm reading for enjoyment, and it's not a race. So what if I take my time with getting to these books? So what? I'm not on a rush, or this is not a contest. Just because everybody has read a book and I haven't, it's no big deal. It's not a contest. I'm trying to remind myself that and try to stay true to myself. Anyway, so this premise is about Maggie. It says Maggie has always accepted life's constraints. That is, until she witnesses a breathtaking moment of liberation as a butterfly breaks free from a spider's web. And this is on a slave plantation where Maggie is a field slave in 1850. So I'm expecting good things from this book because those are the type of stories and historical fiction that I love to read, and I'm hoping this will not disappoint. It's a book that is on my 25 by 25 because I've kind of like forgotten about that list, y'all, and I have got to be intentional about getting these books read because even though it's not a big deal if I don't read the book, nobody is dying here, okay? There's no $1 million prize at the end of 25 if I don't get to read certain books. It would be nice to get these books off my backlist TBR. This book is The Color of a Lie. I bought this several months ago. It is a historical thriller about a family who moves from a town, I think. Let's see. Let's read the jacket. It says, Calvin knows how to pass for white. He's done it plenty of times for his friends in Chicago when they wanted food but weren't allowed in a restaurant, for work when he and his dad traveled for the Green Book. This is different. After a tragedy in Chicago forces the family to flee, they resettle in an idyllic, all-white suburban town in search of a better life. Calvin's father wants them to embrace their new lifestyle, but that's easier said than done. So apparently the whole family must be passing for white. I don't know. I'm kind of going into that part blind, but I know Calvin, who's a teenager in this book, so I guess that will be a YA. He is passing for white or looks white, but there's some secrets, horrifying things that's going on in this new town that they moved to. I guess they weren't expecting, and everything he has to sort out. So he's kind of riding the line between white and black as well, because he has his black friends and things like that. But when he goes home to his white side of town, he's having to be a different person, and all the horrifying details that's going on in this town. So I can't wait to read this one and get this one off of my 25 by 25 list. Before I forget, I do want to show these two books. These are library books that, of course, came available right at the end of the month. I am eager to read both of these books. I'm going to show them. I'm going to try to do better with reading my library books because I really have not been doing a good job with that. But I'm expecting that to get better because, you know, I'm going on this book buying ban for the next 3 months. So if I do get a new book, it will not be a book that I'm purchasing, but instead a book that I'm borrowing from my local library. So the two books that came available from my library that I wanted to read, is Night Crawling by Leila Motley. And so I have no idea what this book is about. So it says this is a dazzling novel about a young black woman who walks the streets of Oakland, a debut that announces a blazingly original voice. So that's all I'm going to say, and that sounds very interesting. Hopefully I will be able to get to that. If not, I am eager to read this one as well. This one is American Queen, and this literally just became available like yesterday, April 1st. So I was like, well, of course I've got to add this to my mood reading TBR. And so this is the American Queen by Vanessa Miller. I didn't realize that Vanessa Miller, if you watched my last video, I will post it here. I showed some books that I had just recently bought within the last couple of months that I never showed you all. And Vanessa Miller wrote some Christian faith-based books that I showed. So I was thinking that she was, you know, that type of author, but apparently she writes historical fiction too. So I'm excited about that. So it says, over the 24 years she was enslaved on the Montgomery plantation, Luella learned to feel one thing: hate. Hate for the man who sold her mother, hate for the overseer who left her daddy to hang from a noose. Hate so powerful, there's no room in her heart for love, not even for the Honorable Reverend Williams, whom she likes and respects enough to marry. So in this mood reading TBR, as you can see, I have two like historical fictions. I'm definitely going to read this one, but this one may be similar. I'm thinking these two are going to be similar. I have to pick one to read. I think it'll be this one. So we'll see. I might not be able to read two similar books close together. So hopefully I can renew this one and no one is waiting for it. And if so, I'll just carry this one over to next month, May. Can't believe I'm saying May. That is it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have read any of these books, leave what you thought about the books generally. No spoilers in the comment section down below. If you have not subscribed, I do encourage you to subscribe. Somebody's playing the drums. Oh yeah, there's a school, I forgot, across the street. Thanks for watching, y'all. I'll see you in the next video.